Hi, my name is Rania Matar, and I am here at East Wing Gallery. I have an exhibition titled Becoming Girls, Women, and Coming of Age. This is my first exhibition in Dubai, or solo exhibition in Dubai, and I'm very honored to be here. My work is very personal to me and to my identity as a Lebanese Palestinian American. So I would like to tell you a little bit how this work came to be. I was born in Lebanon. My father's originally Palestinian, and I moved to the United States in 1984 to study architecture because of the Civil War, the Lebanese Civil War. And I was working as an architect. I had my children, and eventually, after September 11, decided to start telling a different story and show a different narrative from the Middle East. And I decided to start making images in the Middle East to show the Lebanon and the Middle East that I personally know. So I started going back and making photographs, and my early work was maybe more, it was telling the story of the Palestinian refugee camps, the aftermath of war in Lebanon, Women and the Veil, and eventually it became my first book titled Ordinary Lives. After that, I wanted to start working closer in the US where I live, and I started photographing teenage girls. This was very inspired by my older daughter, who was 15 at that time, when I was seeing her transforming from a tomboy to a little girl. And I wanted to tell a different story and show the story from the perspective of the girls. So I started photographing, I started this project titled A Girl in Her Room. And I started this work in the United States where I live. And eventually I realized that 25 years earlier, I was exactly those girls. I was like them, I was them. And I lived in a different country, different time. And it just hit me in the face that there's such a universality to these growing up moments in a woman's life. So I decided to start also including girls in Lebanon and girls in the Palestinian refugee camp, which made this project very personal to me. And this was not meant at all as a comparison to the girl. It was meant very much to show how every girl at that age is going through that same development of becoming a woman and growing up to becoming an adult, and how they were like reassessing their goals in life. And I did that through photographing them in their bedroom, where they're surrounded by their very personal object. It was the only space where they could completely be themselves. And a few of these photographs are part of this exhibition here. And this work became a book titled The Girl in Her Room. And eventually, at that point, I started observing my younger daughter, Maya, who was 11 or 12, and she was at that prepubescent age where her body was changing and her attitude was changing with it. And I decided that I would love to grasp that as a project. And one time she was laying down in Lebanon and watching TV, and my father-in-law came and said, "Look at her, l'enfant femme." And it just hit me that this is the title for this project. So I started the same process that I did with my other work, but now I'm photographing younger girls between the ages of 8 and 13. And here the process is very different. Whereas with the Girl in Her Room, I would spend an hour and a half to 2 hours with the girl in her bedroom. It became very collaborative. This work is shot first on film, on medium format film, and it's very much the relationship of the girl to the camera. So I asked the girls not to smile because they're so used to that selfie culture where they have to kind of give the selfie mouth and the fake smile and all to the pictures. And I had to get them out of that frame of mind. And I'm also photographing negative film. And they wanted to always come and see the back of the camera, and we realized they couldn't. So it was a very interesting process in the sense that they took the whole photo shoot much more seriously. And at that point, when I asked them not to smile, they start to have to think about what to do with their hands, with their feet, with their bodies. And this project is very much about observing that, because in most of the photos, one would see that duality of a little bit of the womanly attitude that's starting to appear, and a little bit of that awkwardness that comes with being that age as well. Again, for this work, I photographed girls in the Middle East and in the United States. And I also went to the Palestinian refugee camps, and I also photographed Syrian refugee girls on the street. I mean, anytime now anybody would put the radio, you're going to hear horrible news coming from the Middle East. We're forgetting almost that there are normal people that live there, and they are just like us. So this work is very much focusing us on the girls that age that are going through the transition to becoming a young adult and a woman. So what I do with the girls, I spend a while with them. I go to their houses. It's always in their own surroundings, whether it's on the street or in their backyard or in their homes. It depends on what the lighting is like, and this is where I would make that decision. And then I let them dress any way they want to, and we kind of start working. At some point, my older daughter was about to leave for college, and I started photographing women my age. I realized that's another big transition in a woman's life. I mean, to have a kid leave the home. And so I started photographing women, and with the same frame of mind that I was photographing the girls. And it so happened that in a couple of instances, I photographed the mother with her daughter, and it evolved into a whole new project called Unspoken Conversations, Mothers and Daughters. And that's extremely personal to me in terms of the project. I lost my mom when I was 3. I'm learning the whole relationship of the mother and daughter firsthand with my own daughters. I see the transformation of the relationship from the girl who's still at home and is the teenager with the mom, and the daughter who's in college who became my best friend. And so I'm photographing mainly the mother with the teenage girl. In terms of process, is very different because whereas with the girls, it was a one-on-one, and I'm photographing the girl and her relationship to the camera. In this work, I'm photographing 2 people with their relationship to the camera and their relationship to each other. So it's much more complex in a sense to achieve that. So this exhibition, as you could see, is very much about transitions, seen through the eyes of a woman by photographing women and girls. It's about the girl growing up. It's about the girl becoming an adult, but it's also about the mother getting older. It's about growing up and growing old. It's about transformation, and that's why the title of the project became the title of the exhibition became "Becoming Girls, Women, and Coming of Age."